You ready for the video?
Yep.
Let's do it.
On which you are is not stable.
Yes.
Forget body.
Time
These
Last
days,
Airbender.
everybody
My
living
favorite
in
show.
That was such a
small
good one.
cubicles where temperature is always.
These modern buildings, cubicles, like they're designed to make money, basically. Inside, not the shed.
Exactly. And let's I love analogies, by the way. So, not a triple layer cake this time. Present practice. What's conscious? This is Vish and
McKaylyn,
today we'll be responding to Sadhguru's video on.
how to live a strong life.
So today I'm here with McKaylyn. Want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm McKaylyn. I am a digital marketer, freelance social media manager, and creative enabler.
Thank you so much for being here, McKaylyn. She makes some really cool content. Where can they find you?
At Hello McKaylyn.
It's on Instagram. All of her stuff will be down below. And I'm an aspiring yogi. I've been meditating for 3 to 4 years now and love all things meditation, wisdom, yoga based. And I'm curious, before we start, what are your thoughts on living a strong life?
I mean, strong in what way, right? It's like, are we talking physically strong, mentally strong, emotionally strong?
Well, that's a great question, which I would love to hear from the video.
Yeah.
And would love to hear what you think about this topic, about how you would live a strong life in the comments down below.
Mm-hmm.
And with that,
Let's get to the video.
Along with yogic practices, being in touch with earth and other elements of life would make life very strong. And it's important that you live strong. Living strong does not mean just all muscle kind of strength. The essential structure of life within you must be strong. Not just for the sake of health, not just for the sake of
that's your
countering
question here.
external invasions of bacteria, virus and other ailments, but even for a spiritual process, it's very important that you have a strong and stable physical system so that when you fire up your energies, if you open up your genius, it should not hurt. Having a very stable platform of one's physical structure, when I say physical structure, it includes the body and also the energetic system. If you have a strong basis, then taking this high will become possible. Only if the earth that you stand on is stable, will you want to rise high. If where you stand is not stable, the stage on which you are is not stable.
Yes.
Forget about dancing, you're not even going to walk. You will be so scared, you will want to lie down because it's unstable. So, we see this everywhere, a whole lot of human beings who raise their performance of life by touching a chord of genius within themselves, unfortunately suffer enormous instabilities, profound sufferings. So many artists have committed suicide. So many are suffering with mental disabilities. This is essentially because they touched a chord of their genius, and the overflow of genius will cause enormous damage to them simply because they did not create a strong and stable base.
Wow.
Creating a
interesting
strong
perspective.
and stable
Yeah.
life, living strong is very important. For this, there are practices of course, but apart from that, being in touch with the 5 elements of nature: earth, water, air, fire and akash. Without this, you will not strengthen the body.
Time
These
Last
days,
Airbender.
everybody
My
living
favorite show.
That was such a
small
good one.
cubicles where temperature is always 69 or 70 degrees Fahrenheit is not the way to live. It's very important that you are exposed to the ways of the world. When I say ways of the world, I am not talking about what's happening in Mumbai, New York or Los Angeles, not those kind of ways. The ways of the world are like this. There is wind, there is chill, there is water, there is air, there is fire, all these things are there. It is very, very important that you are exposed to the ways of the world. Let's get this expression right. The ways of the world are not the ways that we create. The ways of the world is the way the world is. To be in touch with that, very, very important. To spread out human populations so that they don't have to live in cubicles of so-called comfort, which is weakening the very system. It is important to create a very strong
I agree.
life within you. Only if you do this, your ability to rise in terms of creativity, in terms of activity, and for highest levels of spiritual experience also, you need a stable body. Otherwise, when you rise, something will collapse. It's my wish and my blessing. Every one of you must live strong.
Along with the yoga practices, being in touch with the earth and the other elements on a daily basis can make a huge difference to one's life. Wow. This was also a very cool one. What did you think, McKaylyn?
Yeah, I mean, what did he say about like experiencing like the world, like not for like what's going on in like the major populated areas, but what's actually going on in the world as far as the earth goes. It's like the elements and the natural systems and the wind, and it's just like, and temperature. I mean, it's just like, those are all things to be experienced. And I feel like a lot of people won't go out and like put themselves to experience like, you know, extreme cold or extreme hot because it's like uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, no, that's quite true. And it's really interesting because I feel like a lot of the things we've talked about, even just off and on camera, was kind of encapsulated in that video. Mm-hmm. And you've also been to LA, right, for some time?
Yeah.
Got you. And I agree. It's this one thing I heard from someone, and it's essentially the idea that you should go out and spend, regardless of what your views are on religion or God, go out and spend time with God's creation. And God's creation is nature, basically, because all these buildings and urban settings are all man-made, and not just man-made. I think it's mind-made, right? It goes back to reflect what I was saying earlier with most of society now being purely driven by the intellectual, logical mind. And so that's why things are designed for that purpose. And literally, like he was saying, and yeah, we were talking about this before, if you look at the office spaces, it's all like cubicles, and it's not human, right? It's very just like work.
No,
What do you think?
Yeah, it's designed to, like these modern buildings, cubicles, like they're designed to make money, basically.
That's it. And like your well-being isn't really focused.
No, not in a cubicle.
Exactly. And it's, as he says, I mean, I think even the education system today, not to say it's good or bad again, I just think the way it's being run is really going along the lines of focusing on creating the next good engineer, the next good businessman, but not the next good human being. I mean, whatever that good means. So very spot on. And what do you think about his kind of take on bringing bringing the stability to your life, and then doing whatever creative process or whatever process afterwards? What did you think of that?
I mean, yeah, I thought that was interesting, and interesting that he used like musicians as an analogy and a visual for like, you know, what can happen to people if, you know, they don't have a stable foundation and then get swept up, and, you know, who knows what happens. With that said, I don't believe that's the case for a lot of musicians and creative people. I think, especially when it's people who feel like, hey, this is truly what I was born to do. It's like, then it's like they're fulfilling like a purpose and like a something within them. And I think, you know, then it's managed a little better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate you sharing that perspective as well. And you're right, you definitely bring a lot of light to that topic that he mentioned with, for example, musicians suffering. I think you're right. I don't think necessarily all musicians are suffering or going through stuff. For example, my sister, she's younger, she loves singing and dancing, and she does it out of just love, and at least I don't think she's suffering much. She just does it out of love, right? But I do see what he's saying, right? Because I feel like there are certain subsets of the population that do it out of, like, especially, in fact, I've heard a lot of the impactful music and songs that come from like the emotions, whether it's from breakups or
Yes.
whatever, like suffering
Yeah.
and pain. Those are the ones that hit home more. But that does take a lot out of you.
Yeah, I mean, it's, relaying like an experience that you went through, and hopefully someone, connects and you get them through that. So it's kind of like taking like pain and suffering, putting it into something to help others, I think. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what goes through, an artist's mind when they're putting something together and having to like kind of relive their own experiences that were maybe painful or sad.
Exactly. No, that's super true. And it goes back to reinforce the idea and the importance of the inner engineering, right? And regardless of what you have, whether you are this passionate musician, passionate actor, whatever, right? Even doctor. The point is, I think it's super important to first have that inner stability, and then be able to do whatever that you want to do. And that way it's just more sustainable, right? Even a business, whatever it might be, it really goes back to inner engineering.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the tools inside.
It's the tools. What's that phrase you shared? That was super cool before.
It's the tools inside, not the shed.
Exactly. And let's just say, go off that analogy. I love analogies, by the way. So, not a triple layer cake this time, but point is, if you had this shed, and let's just say it was beautiful and it was like a super well functioning shed. I'm no expert on sheds here, but just it had some cool capabilities. But then the soil or the ground was not rigid, right? And let's just say, okay, I'm making this a bit more dramatic now, so just don't mind me for this.
A landslide.
A landslide. But imagine it was like a homeless shelter / homeless, feeding ground, and it's like a great noble place. Yeah. But then the people that had made that or picked that location never were aware of the ground, right? And the stability of the platform. And then one day just it collapses and all the food is gone. Just making this up, right? Point is, it goes to reinforce the idea of how important foundation is and stability. No matter how noble something is, I think it really comes down to stability. And I truly think that, because I've heard this too quite a bit, which is the idea that a lot of the times, why do bad things happen to good people, right? And then good things happen to bad people. And I think it really comes down to the fact that it's not about good or bad. It's not about how nice or kind you are, but it's truly about how conscious you are, right? Whether you're kind or not, that's a separate thing. I'm not saying you should not be kind, but the point is focusing on your stability is different. And I think that's of utmost importance.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you got to like take care of yourself first before you can like take care of other people and other things around you. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So thank you so much for being here, McKaylyn. I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate you all for watching this and taking the time. If you have any other video requests, you can comment down below. And where can they find you again, McKaylyn?
At Hello McKaylyn on Instagram.
Perfect. All of our stuff will be down below. She makes some super cool content with modeling, entrepreneurial stuff, right? Mm-hmm. With that, make it a great day, take it joyfully, and stay conscious. Awesome job, McKaylyn.
Thank you.
Great.